It's time for Blumpkin and Friends, starring your host, the Reverend Johnny Blumpkin.
Hey kids, I'm the Reverend Johnny Blumpkin, and with me here today is my friend,
Rick James.
Woo! So it's going to be lowest common denominator, because it's Rick, and my most filthy and entertaining conversations are usually with him. No disrespect to any of my other friends or guests, but he's on like this whole nother level because of the amount of hours he's spent with me over the years, and how I've warped his mind. You got nothing to add to that?
Yeah, there's some terrible things that we've talked about, and it's all inspired by you, you bastard.
That's okay, I'm fine with that. Here's something that's not inspired by me, but I am infamous for telling this story. It is the greatest story I have. So you will be sitting in on a segment of The Poop Chronicles. Prepare to be entertained in story form. Because the Reverend Johnny Blumpkin is talking about feces. It's time for The Poop Chronicles. When I was 10 years old, I was laying in bed. And in my parents' house, my bedroom was on one end of a hallway, a bathroom was in the middle, theirs was on the far end. It was a completely open hallway. So there's like one wall, you go up some stairs, and there's a railing and shit over their living room. So anyways, I'm laying in bed, and I start hearing this god-awful commotion. And I sit there, and it's like, oh, it's Mom. What's wrong? She's like yelling for Dad. She's like, Roger, help, help. I go out in the hallway to see what's going on. And my dad, he just kind of stops me dead in my tracks and goes, go back to bed. I'm like, what's wrong? He's like, go back to bed. And I go back to bed, and I'm trying to fall asleep, but now my brain is just abuzz. I've been tickled. And I hear what sounds like somebody becoming violently ill. And then I fall asleep, right? So that was, I don't even know what hour of the night, because I didn't have a clock in my room at that age. The next morning, I wake up. I go to the bathroom. I take my morning piss, right? And then as I'm leaving the bathroom, I'm like, wait a minute, where the fuck is the rug? I go down to the kitchen to eat breakfast, and my dad's down there giving my sister breakfast, obviously, because my sister was mentally disabled in a wheelchair and couldn't care for herself. So he's feeding my sister breakfast, and I'm pouring cereal, and it just this weird, awkward tension in the air. And I'm kind of watching cartoons, but I'm kind of like, I got to ask him, like, so, what happened last night? He's like, I don't want to talk about it. Which immediately is like, well, fuck, now I really want to know. I ask him again, I'm like, well, you can't, like, give me a hint or anything? He's like, your mom got sick. I'm like, oh, okay, what's the big deal there? So I'm going about it. He's just like, I don't want to talk about it. She doesn't want me to tell you about it. He's like slowly giving away everything, right? So I'm eating a few more bites of cereal, and he's like, your mom threw up. I'm like, yeah, okay, fine. He's like, well, she got diarrhea too. And I start laughing.
Just a picture of 10-year-old laughing at diarrhea.
Yes. Yes. And then he says to me, well, your mom was throwing up, and then she had to get diarrhea.
Jackpot.
I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, wait, is that why the rug's missing in the bathroom? So he proceeds to tell me that my mother was puking in the toilet. And then she started screaming for help because she panicked, knowing she was about to get diarrhea and start shooting it out the other end. I'm just going to ask you something. If you were puking in the toilet and then you knew you were about to shit, what would you do?
Well, I think the pretty obvious answer would be to grab the trash can and puke in the trash can and shit in the toilet.
Exactly. And everybody for the last 28 years I've been telling this fucking story has said the same goddamn answer. The only other thing she could have done is climb into the bathtub.
Go to the bathtub where it's Thunderdome. Anything goes.
Just pull the curtain and just shut the lights off and give it a few minutes. Close your eyes and wait for the ride.
Run the hot water and just let it wash away.
Well, here's the funny thing, though. She's wearing a nightgown, too, right? So my mom wears giant fucking cotton white granny panties. I never really paid much attention to my mom's underpants. Except one time, I think I was in my late teens or early 20s. I went to the laundry room where there was a basket of clothing that had just been pulled out of the dryer but hadn't been folded. And I grabbed what I thought was my white t-shirt. I pick it up and I go to put it on and I can't find the head hole. And as I open it up, I realize this is not one of my t-shirts. This is a parachute-sized pair of my mother's fucking panties. They're huge. Huge.
Traumatizing.
And that was, like fucking 20 years ago, roughly. And she hasn't gotten any smaller. So interestingly enough, I was over there with some of the kids today. And she's like, the last time you were here, do you know what Bug said to me, my 3-year-old? She goes, Grandma, you have a big butt. So even my fucking toddler knows that my mom has a gigantic ass. So the reason I tell you the part about the underpants and the huge ass is she's in the nightgown. It's a long nightgown. And she's knelt down in front of the toilet. I don't think she even had time to get her panties off. So I want you to picture an Oompa Loompa puking into a toilet, shitting in their giant cotton lady underwears, and then it's just coming out of the leg holes, and then there's poop encrusted in what I can only imagine was my mother's giant bush. Well, you're doing a lot of silent head shaking. That's
one room you do not want to walk into at Willy Wonka Chocolate Factory.
Right.
I don't need to be kicked out. I want to be thrown out.
The shit ran down her legs, got all over the rug. She didn't think, and I've asked her, I'm like, why don't you just puke in the garbage can and shit in the toilet? She gets mad that I even ask her the question because I think she's just morbidly obese. Now, she's mortifyingly embarrassed about that she did not think of it at the time.
Yeah, you don't know what a person's going through when it's coming out at each end.
Right. Right. So, yes, so for years I've told this story about my mom, and she hates that I tell people this, which is why I love telling people this.
You son of a bitch!
Have you got any poop-related stories from when you were a kid that you would like to bestow onto me right now?
That's a tough one. I can't say really,
What about as an adult when you were drunk? Did you ever shit your pants?
No, no, nothing funny. Like maybe one where I think there was one time maybe where I had the flu and I sneezed and it came out the backside. But
how much?
Like not much, a squirt, enough to throw out the shorts I was wearing. But that's about it. Anything's enough to throw it out.
That makes me think of this time back when I worked third shift at the jail. I walk into one of the bathrooms and I'm checking to make sure nobody's hiding in a shower stall, smoking or finger banging each other. I look in the stalls. Nobody's doing drugs or hiding in there or hanging themselves. I walk back past the fucking garbage. I'm like, wait a minute. There's a pair of boxers on top of the fucking garbage can. So this garbage can is like a big fucking industrial garbage can with no top. So it's wide open like you would see in the lunchroom at school. One of those big, ugly, gray plastic pieces of shit.
Go on.
It's full to the brim with paper towels. So this pair of boxer shorts on the top is like at waist height, just staring off, waiting for somebody to lock eyes with. And I look, and there is just a fucking bacon strip of chunky shit. Someone clearly sharted very badly, but then was prescient enough to leave it out for everyone to see so it would be hilarious. And I took a picture of it with my phone.
That's the right response to that.
I miss all the poop-related stuff about the jail.
That doesn't sound like something you would want to miss. You're a twisted fuck.
I am.
I assume this is a simple one, but didn't we all, when we were little kids, when we had the footy pajamas, and then you pooped, and then it had to go down your leg, but since you had your footy pajamas, you couldn't just it couldn't fall out your pant leg. You had to pull your leg out. Didn't that happen to everyone?
I don't recall ever shitting footy pajamas. I mean, you raise a hilarious quandary where a kid is still wearing footy pajamas at an age where they should be potty trained, and then somehow in the middle of the night they have a sleep shit, and they get up and they feel it squish between their toes. So then you got to wake dad up because mom's not going to handle it.
Yeah.
And he's just cussing at you in the bathroom. Like, why didn't you wake up and go to the bathroom? As he's running you a bath, and also cussing about having to wash turds out of the fucking leg and foot of the insides of your footy pajamas.
Probably Ninja Turtle footy pajamas.
Ooh. It better not be something cool like G.I. Joe or Batman or He-Man, because He-Man does not shit himself.
I'd like to think he wouldn't.
He takes big, angry, man-sized Pringles can dumps, and then he leaves them out in the open for people to find. And they see it and they go, this is the shit of the hero of Eternia. I can tell by the taste.
That shit has the power.
Speaking of having the power, I have a surprise for you. How did you like that story that I told you about my mom shitting her pants and throwing up at the same time?
Oh, it's classic.
Good, I'm glad you feel that way. Because I actually wrote a song about it a while back. The song is called Empty Tank. Because obviously, when you are rocketing fluids out of your body from both ends, by the time you're done, you've reached the opposite of digestive equilibrium. You're just plumb damn empty. So the lyrics, hopefully you can understand them. It's a little bit dancey. But I've been sitting on this one for months, waiting for an episode to roll it out with. So here you go. Here's your reaction in real time. Late one night, I was 10 years old, awakened by an awful sound. Screams for help were coming out of my poor mother's mouth. She was in the bathroom and something was going on. The panic then became muffled sounds for far too long. Out of bed, I stumbled blindly for a chance to see. Walked into the hallway to a quite confusing scene. I was promptly stopped in my tracks and sent back to bed. And then off to dreamland I went. I heard her scream, Roger, hurry, I need you, I cannot breathe. Get in here and do something, oh help me please. Oh my God, I think that I'm about to die. With honey, she cried. 8 a.m. went downstairs to the kitchen to eat and talk to Dad. Tried to find out what had happened, he said not to ask. I said okay and figured that was the end of that. He then pulled up for 180 on me lightning fast. Said your mom got sick last night, I figured no big deal. He paused for a moment and went into more detail. Said that she threw up and then got diarrhea too. That's when the run's gone from the bathroom. I heard her scream, Roger, hurry, I need you, I cannot breathe. Get in here and do something, oh help me please. Oh my God, I think that I'm about to die. With Tears of anguish were running down from her eyes. In the toilet, she lost everything she'd ate. On the rug and tile floor, there shop your hate. Her nightgown and granny panties were no match for the brownie earthquake spilling from her ass. All she had to do was grab the garbage can. It was on the floor adjacent to her hand. Then she could have turned and shit into the bowl. A Hershey squirt free zone should have been a goal. My poor dad had to come in, help clean it up. Chunks of feces were kicked in her raunchy muff. If you ever wanna know what true love is, try cleaning up your own spouse's puke and shit. Ta-da!
I don't know how many people write a song about an event that happened when they were 10 years old, which they weren't even at.
Well, yeah, I got the details from my dad that I feel confident enough to know what happened.
It writes itself.
It does.
But, well, you did a fantastic job at it.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you could understand the lyrics well enough.
Oh, yeah.
I did some tweaking after the first few people I played it for. You're not the first. Hello, my name is Yuri. I'm here to tell you ladies about a great new feminine hygiene product called Siberian Splash. Does your baby hatch smell like Ivan Drago's gym bag? Are you able to repel wolves with your queefs? Then try Siberian Splash. It's made from melted down hunks of ice from the great Russian north. Around the areas where we send the peoples to the prisons so that they never come back. And if you use it, then men will want to have sexual intercourse with you, and you can birth them many proud sons that they can then train to be MMA fighters like Fedor Emelianenko. No man wants a woman whose vagine reeks like Zangief's armpit. Siberian Splash. Make your gagoosh fresh like the great Russian tundra. Siberian Splash is 30% alcohol by volume. Use with caution.
Hi. Jesse Ventura here for UPS. And I'd like to take a few moments to tell you about some of their services. They offer time-definite and day-definite delivery for when you need it there at a specific time. Oh, God. Domestic, international, and freight shipping for all of your mailing needs. Oh, God, tacos. Visit UPS.com to view our service guide. UPS. Oh, God. Oh, what can Brown do for you?
You're listening to Blumpkin and Friends.
In accordance with my probationary terms from the state of Michigan, here is some community work service I, Brownbeard, give to you, Dear Krabby. Dear Krabby, I'm in a 14-year marriage, but there has always been another woman, Emily. I've thought about almost daily the whole time. My wife and I have just turned 40. We have no kids, but we have a dog. I always thought I would want kids, and we tried half-heartedly. I'm guessing that she wanted him, and he was just like, yeah, okay, I'll come inside you, but then he might have been popping some pills to make him not. Who knows? I don't know. There's no real intimacy to this day. I kiss her goodbye in the morning, and for years, that's been it. Emily is all in a relationship with me still to this day. Gotta leave those birds hanging on a wire sometimes.
She stay single all this time?
I don't know. We had a great relationship with great sex, and I miss all of that. Well, I can see why.
Wait, were they cheating on each other for that?
What? Do you want me to read you the letter, or do you want to keep playing 20 questions and fucking guessing, boy? Settle down, we'll get there.
I want to play 20 questions.
Settle down, Linda. Just watch the show. It'll explain the plot.
I am tired of your shit!
God, I'm so fucking tired of your shit!
I'm struggling about the right thing to do, partly because I know the pain that this will cause. My wife and I still have good times together with friends, but when we're home, it's like we're just best friends with no benefits. Well, then you need to get the fuck out of there, because the benefits are what it's about, buddy.
Bye-bye.
One of the last times we had sex, she ended it abruptly. The flame I felt for her is gone. I felt like I should go the other direction because she wants kids, and she still loves me deeply after all these years. Please advise wrestling with it in Wisconsin. Well, Dear Wrestling. Odd name choice, and I hope this is former WWE and current NWA performer Ken Anderson. It's probably not. I can tell you that holding a candle for an old flame is unfair to your wife, or that you should really address the lack of intimacy with your wife, but instead, I think the best way to get through to all parties involved is to fuck the brains out of this other chick, preferably in the bed you share with your wife. Make sure that the chance of your wife walking in and seeing you balls deep in another woman are the greatest by doing it close to dinner time and being as loud as possible. That way she'll come walking in, be aghast at what is transpiring, and flee the scene.
Or join. That could be, I want to do that. I want to do that.
Yeah, I'm not really getting that feel from this letter.
Well, it's only from his point of view.
Okay, so then you finish up, and you text your wife something along the lines of, "That's what happens when you stop fucking your husband." I'm sure that won't blow up in your face at all, and everything will be just peachy keen perfect going forward. You'll get to be with the other lady, Emily, and then your ex-wife will get a one-bedroom apartment with an ample supply of Toblerone chocolate and D-cell batteries. Maybe she'll even own a copy of The Notebook. I cannot state this enough, ladies. Whatever you don't do for your man, he will find a woman who will do it for him.
I have a brother-in-law who did that. Well, I had a brother-in-law. His wife stopped fucking him, and he went and fathered the child with another woman.
Ah, you almost pulled it off.
They've been separated for 5 years.
I mean, the fucking around, sure, at that point, I understand it. There's this thing, it's called constructive abandonment. It's actually a legal defense for divorce. Because if you take vows to be with only each other, right? Mm-hmm. And then the other party stops fucking you, well, you've sacrificed other people. You've forsaken others for them, and now they won't give you any. So they're really not fulfilling that part of the vow to fuck you. Or only fuck you.
That's a legitimate reason, huh?
Yeah, it's a legal defense. Look it up. Google that shit. Constructive abandonment. Next letter. Dear Krabby, 12 years ago, I taught a boy I'll call Brandon in my first grade class. Okay. I was very fond of him and we had a strong connection. It was a first grade class. Get over yourself. Jesus Christ. I knew Brandon had a tough home life and did my best to provide him a safe place in my classroom. Good for fucking you. Jesus Christ.
Everybody has a safe place in a classroom.
I stayed in contact with his aunt over the years on social media because she had been a coworker of my mother's, and we would occasionally discuss how Brandon was doing. No, he moved on. He's not yours anymore. Fucking let it go. It's like if you give up a fucking dog to the shelter and it gets adopted, do you expect to get yearly fucking Christmas update letters from the people that took him home?
Nope.
Probably not. No. Anyways, Brandon grew older. He began to associate with, quote, a bad crowd. So what you mean is he was having fun. He got in more and more trouble at school and eventually dropped out. A few months later, he was sent to prison for a violent crime. His aunt has asked me to send Brandon a letter because he had always thought so much of me as his teacher. Without giving it much thought, I agreed. Well, my husband is very opposed to the idea of me contacting Brandon. We have 2 young children with special needs, and I'm now a stay-at-home mom so I can help my children. My husband thinks I'm already dealing with too much stress, and he doesn't like the idea of a man who has been convicted of violence being in contact with me.
I agree.
I'm torn about what's the right thing to do. I feel like I'm abandoning Brandon like so many others in his life, but I also see my husband's point. Krabby, please help me to decide what to do. Conflicted in Illinois. Apparently we're sticking with a Midwest theme this evening.
I was actually just thinking that.
Yeah, well, whoop-de-goddamn do.
What's next? Minnesota?
Yeah, I don't know. So let me answer this one here. Let me take a sip of my beverage because my throat is quite parched.
I want Kool-Aid.
Should have fucking brought your own, boy. Dear dingy bitch, your husband is right to think it's a bad idea. Not because someday this nutcase you taught could show up to dinner unannounced with a knife, your letters, and a boner in his pocket, but because you most likely develop an unhealthy attachment to you due to being locked up and getting shithole fucked all the time. And as much as you think it's your place to give him some helpful words, he has little to hope for in life and will most likely spend his remaining days in lockup waiting to thank you in person. By showing up to dinner unannounced with a knife, your letters, and a boner in his pocket. Killing your husband so the 2 of you can, quote, finally be together, and he can start the new life he dreamed of for years, being the man of your house and fucking someone in their shithole for a change.
I'm going to guess that she's probably about 25 years older than him since he's in jail. He's 18, 19, 20 years old, so she's probably close to 50. I don't think he's got a romantic interest in her.
You don't know.
I'm pretty sure.
You've never been surrounded by men and only men all day, every day behind bars and forced to get shithole fucked and fed a diet of primarily carbohydrates.
Are we speaking from experience here?
No, I'm not speaking from experience. It's common knowledge that when you go to prison, that if you don't kick somebody's ass the first day, you end up somebody's bitch.
Kick someone's ass or be a bitch?
Yeah, that's your options.
Okay.
So what would you do?
Kick somebody's ass.
It doesn't go good for you because you're a white guy and the guy's ass you kicked happened to be a big black guy and he's got a bunch of friends that are also big black guys. And now
I
you're...
wouldn't pick on a black guy. I'd look for another kind of weak white guy, maybe a stoner.
Maybe a stoner. You think that there's just like a clique of fucking Shaggy from Scooby-Doo standing around in jumpsuits?
Yes, there is. I've watched a lot of prison shows.
Oh, prison shows. Like prison fiction shows or shows about life in prison?
Life in prison.
That are dictated by the editor and director and over-dramatized for entertainment value.
Yeah? Well, what show isn't?
Golden Girls?
I don't know a single old woman that talked like any of them ever did.
Well, apparently you didn't hang out at the right wrinkle ranches. Should have been at the old folks' home looking for a Blanche. She's DTF 24/7. But no, you're just sitting around playing canasta with a whole fucking picnic tables full of Sophias. And let me tell you, there ain't a fuckable one in that bunch. They're so old and so dusty and musty. But a man's got to eat, so sometimes you got to bring a tube of Kentucky jelly and you got to grease Grandma's nutty hole.
Moving along.
No, there's no moving along here, boy. You go to prison, you beat up a tough guy. You don't beat up a bitch, because they're like, oh, look, my new bitch just beat up my old bitch. Here, hold my pocket. And get ready for kissing on the mouth and shithole fucking. It's going to happen. By the way, your new name is Precious. So get ready to not sit down comfortably for the next 12 years, Precious. I'm going to turn you out. And then you're going to say, okay, Brandon, I'll do it. I'll do it just this time.
No.
See how I brought it back full circle to the letter? Shithole fucked.
Now, we've reached the point in the show when it's time to play a game. You will be playing the RPS Challenge. You have done this before. You will be playing against our former co-worker from Menards, Steiny, a.k.a. Other Neil. I like to put you up against people from Menards. I think it's interesting to create those rivalries between friends, because why the fuck not? My life is meaningless otherwise. Oh, bitch. So, it's 5 hands unless it goes into overtime, and then it will be more, obviously. So I'm going to write an R-J for Rick James and an S-T for Steiny. I have his hands right here. So all you have to do is tell me yours, and then we'll go from there. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Blumpkin and Friends proudly brings to you the Rock, Paper, Scissors Intercontinental Championship Challenge Championship of the World! The following contest is set for one fall of 5 hands and is an RPS Championship Challenge non-title match. In this corner, the Nightwing to my Batman. He's wearing a Rick and Morty shirt, and he talked about footy pajamas and a short. Rick James. And his challenger, at a full adult height of roughly 5'7", and I'm not even kidding, he's really short and from Wisconsin, Other Neil. Are you ready?
Let's go.
Hand number 1.
Scissors.
You went scissors. He went rock. Okay, so right out of the gate, there you are. You're down a point. It's all right. You've got more chances. You can fix this. You can still get the win.
Hand number 2.
Let's go scissors again.
You went scissors. He went rock again. Ooh. Ooh, you're 0-2. You're like the Twins today. And they are donezo for the season. You're going to have to bring the heat now, Ricky.
Hand number 3.
Let's go rock.
You went rock. He went paper. Okay, well, you've lost already.
Oh.
Quite handedly. But we have to play it out.
Damn, well, I'm doing my best Minnesota Twins representation, though, that's for sure.
Actually, at this point now, you're doing your best Minnesota Vikings impersonation.
Yeah, very good.
0-3. Hand number 4.
Paper.
You went paper. He went rock. Okay, so you got a point. There you go. That's 1. Hand number 5.
We'll finish it off with the rock.
You went rock. He went scissors. Okay. Well, you got 2 points. It's respectable. You still lost, but hey, good for you.
You lose.
Interact with the show on Twitter at Blumpkin Show. That is at Blumpkin Show. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/group/Blumpkin and friends. We are on iTunes and on Podbean at blumpkinshow.podbean.com. For original songs like what you heard tonight, Empty Tank, go to soundcloud.com/BlumpkinMusic or search YouTube for Blumpkin Music. I'm the Reverend Johnny Blumpkin.
And I'm Rick James.
Well, good night.